If you're neurodivergent and you work from home, I'm filming this video just for you. I almost hit burnout around this time last year. I'm working from home, working for myself. I have ADHD and an auditory processing disorder. And I realized that a lot of my burnout was because I could not turn off at the end of the day. I would end up working way later than I really wanted to, or I would try to unwind and do something else, but I just would always be thinking about work. Or I would get into bed, try to fall asleep, and I'm getting up 30 minutes later because I felt like I had to send one more email, or I just wasn't sure about how I would be starting the next day. But a lot of that began to change after I created what I call my Final 15. My Final 15 is a end of workday routine. It's a way for us to plan, prioritize, and feel confident with how we're gonna run our day tomorrow morning, and then officially turn our brain off work mode and go into like life mode and just do whatever the life things are that we want to do and be present for. So when I created my Final 15, I went through 3 different steps. My first question that I asked myself was, how am I gonna figure out exactly what I need to do tomorrow? So I do this by doing a quick calendar check just to give me a sense of what my meetings and my schedule is gonna look like. And then updating my to-do list, which I have a whole nother strategy for, but essentially being able to determine what are my 3 MITs for tomorrow. My MITs are my most important tasks. And I jot those down on an index card. So I'm just looking at those 3 things in the morning, not getting overwhelmed by the massive to-do list that I kind of keep out of sight most of the day. So after I figure out what my schedule is looking like and what my 3 most important tasks are, I usually wrap it up with what I call closing tasks. So maybe I do a last minute email check just to make sure I've responded to everybody that I need to within this day. Maybe I do a quick check on LinkedIn to reply to any comments or anything like that I need to. But just whatever my closing tasks are, they're gonna be different for everyone depending on what your job is, what your role is. Just kind of figuring out what are those things that ensure that you've kind of like just checked all the boxes and nothing's gonna be missed. And the last thing that I do is a physical cue to tell my brain and my body that I am shifting out of work mode and into just like regular Eric life mode. So for me, that physical cue is I get up from my desk, I close my laptop, I turn off the light in my home office, and then I close the office door behind me. And I've told myself that when I make that final action, when I close that door, it's life mode. I can let go of work for the rest of the day because I know what's coming up tomorrow. I've got a plan for it. I've checked off my boxes to make sure nothing slipped through the cracks. And I've just given my brain that physical cue to turn off the work brain and be present for my wife, hang out with the dog, go for a walk, whatever it is that I'm gonna be doing at night. So if you're neurodivergent, you're working from home, and you're like I was a year ago, you're on the verge of burnout, you're just always thinking about work, it feels really hard to turn off the work mode,